Hey, this video is for all the aspiring entrepreneurs out there. If you want to start your own business, just know that we live in a society where most people aren't doing anything with their lives. Anything like spectacular, anything out of the ordinary. Most people try to live very ordinary lives. They try and, after going to high school, they go to college or they get a job, and after college or university, they go get a job somewhere, or maybe they open their own business. That's cool, but most people just go get a job, and then they have a wife and kids, and then they get a house, and they get a dog, and that's their life. And that's cool. I mean, you can do that if you want. I'm not saying don't do that, but I'm just saying we live in a society where most people don't do much outside of that. And so, you being a human, you are a social creature, and me being a human, I'm a social creature. And so, it's so much easier to go along with the pack and just do what everyone else is doing, and it's so much harder to kind of step outside of that and do something different, do something differently. So if you want to start your own business, that's really not common. And you're going to get a lot of flack from people saying, like maybe your parents or your grandparents or your aunts, uncles, or your friends, or whatever. People in life, maybe even your teachers, are going to say, no, go get a job somewhere. It's smarter, learn how to do it. And then maybe they're going to say, don't even start your own business. It's too risky. Better off getting a 9 to 5. But if you truly want to start your own business and you truly know that you have a shot at this and you have the entrepreneurial DNA where you just can't work for anyone else and you have to be your own boss, I just want to say, like, go for it. Just freaking go for it. And just feel free to work a lot. Feel free. Don't feel guilty for working a lot. Don't feel guilty for working a lot. You have to work a lot. You have to work a tremendous amount at your craft if you want to really succeed with being an entrepreneur. Sure, you can make 50, 60, $70,000 a year, not working that much, maybe only working 6, 7 hours a day at your craft, at least initially once to get it set up. Once your business is set up, at least the way I do it online, once the business is set up, it's pretty easy to keep it running. Like, there's not that much I need to do now that it's up and running. But it took me so long to get it to where it is now. It took so much work, and it took a lot of trial and error. Granted, I didn't have someone telling me exactly how to do what it is I'm doing now, which would have helped a lot. But at the same time, I wasn't looking for that. I didn't know that that was even a thing, that you could find someone who's already done something awesome and then just replicate their steps. I didn't know that was a thing. And so looking back, I was like, damn, like, looking back, I would say, like, okay, the fastest way to get to where you want to go is to find someone who's doing what you want to do. Just ask them how they did it, and just model success in any area of life, whether it's sport or business or relationships. If someone has a result you want, just do what they do, and you're going to get what they get. So whether that's Facebook ads or YouTube ads or online courses or coaching or ebooks or Instagram or YouTube or whatever it is with regards to business, just model what works. Model what you see working very, very well. It's so key. It's going to speed up the learning process dramatically. But again, the main reason I want to make this video is I want to say, don't feel bad for working a lot. Don't feel bad for not going out and partying. Don't feel bad for saying no to family events. It was my uncle's birthday yesterday, I believe, and he's like, hey, where are you? Are you coming out? And I'm just like, no, I gotta work, man. I gotta work on my business. I'm trying to grow this thing way bigger than it is right now, and it's fun for me to grow it. I don't feel guilty for working on it. It's fun. I just know other people don't really understand it though. Other people say, "Hey, you want to come out? Want to come do things?" And I'm just instantly like, by default is no. Default is no. I want to stay home and work. And I know that's not the case for a lot of people. Most people want to go out and do things. And if you're wondering, like, oh, can I go out and live my life and be normal while being an entrepreneur? Well, it depends what phase you're in. If you're in the phase where you're starting up and you're trying to get it off the ground, you're trying to launch your rocket, you have to put in so many more hours than you think is necessary. Once it's up and running, yeah, it's a lot easier to coast. It's a lot easier to put in just, maybe 2, 3 hours a day to keep things operational. But it's kind of like starting a garden. If you want to grow a big garden, a big fruit forest, it's a lot of work. You have to clear the land. First, you have to find the land. Then you have to clear the land. And, then you have to get the right seeds. And you have to make sure that the soil is properly, soiled, whatever it is. You got to make sure that the environment is the right time to plant the seeds in the first place. Then once you plant the seeds, you have to nurture them. Then you got to make sure that they're all growing properly, and you got to prune things eventually. And there's a lot of work initially to get it up and running. Eventually, once the fruit forest is popping off and there's fruit everywhere, and you're like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 9 years in, then yeah, you can coast a lot more. You can kind of walk around and just prune things here and there and harvest things here and there. And it's a lot easier to maintain. I would imagine, because I'm not a fruit farmer myself, but I would imagine it's a lot easier to maintain once it's up and running. But initially getting it to that point is a lot of work. And so same goes with being a business, same goes with business, same goes with raising kids, right? When you're raising a child, holy crap, initially it's like those first, I don't know, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years of raising a child. It's like hands-on all the time. You can't really take your eyes off the child. The child won't even let go of you a lot of the times initially. You're just holding on to the child all the time. So that's like a business. Then eventually the child can learn to walk and run and, go out and party and drive and live in another country, and you're all good. It's a lot easier to be a parent later on. Again, I would imagine, I'm not a parent, but it's similar with business. And life is like that. How one thing is typically how a lot of things are, and that's why it's so easy to use analogies, because life is like that. It's like as within, so without, and as above, so below. Things are very similar in that regard. But even if you don't reason by analogy, if you just reason by first principles, it's like, look, you have no idea, or at least when you're starting a business, you have no idea what the frick to do. You have no idea what to do. You have no idea what the first step is. You have no idea what you should name yourself. You have no idea what problem you're even trying to solve. You have no idea what sort of result you're trying to help someone get. You probably have no idea what solution you want to use. You have no idea if you should do ads, or if you should do organic, or if you should do mixture, or if you should sell a course or an ebook. You don't even know what the frick to do, let alone actually do it. So initially it's very difficult getting started as an entrepreneur, which is why the smartest thing you can possibly do is study a lot, and take a ton of action. Study mixed with action. If you just purely study and don't take any action, you're going to be just like you were in high school and college, and kind of sitting there just soaking in a bunch of information, which is cool. But if you're not executing on that information, it's kind of useless. So you wanna make sure that, I'd say 10% of your time throughout the day should be spent learning, consuming information, and like getting smarter. The other 90% should also be spent getting smarter, but through execution. So 10% learning and then 90% execution. Because you can learn something, spend 10% of your time. Let's say you spend 10 hours a day on this, and I don't recommend spending 10 hours a day initially. You probably got to build up to that level, but you want to get to that point for sure if you want to make a lot of money with your business. But let's say you're spending 10 hours. You want to spend maybe an hour learning what to do that day, like learning how to create a funnel, or learning how to create a webinar, learning how to create a proper email, learning how to write an awesome sales letter, whatever. And then spend the next 9 hours doing the thing. And then as you're doing the thing, you're going to come up against a lot of problems. Questions are going to arise. And sure, you can go quickly Google search those or YouTube tutorial search those and get the answers for them right away. But you're learning as you're doing it. You're not just sitting there purely consuming the information. So I spend about an hour or 2 hours a day, even today, going for long audiobook walks and listening to an hour or 2 hours of audio so I can learn. And then the rest of my time, the rest of all my hours is spent doing. And as I'm doing, I'm constantly coming up against problems. And so with every problem that I come up against as an entrepreneur, I'm using my brain first, and then I'm Googling it, trying to Google the solution. And if my brain can't figure it out, and Google won't give me the answer, I contact customer support. If customer support doesn't work, then I go and I hire a freelancer like on Upwork or Fiverr.com to teach me how to do the thing. And if that still doesn't work, I'll go and post a bunch of Facebook forums. So I'll just contact some people that I would know how to do the thing. And if they don't know how, if they don't know, then I know that they know someone who does know. So anyways, I will find the solution to any problem I come up against. And that's how you have to be as an entrepreneur. And the reason you have to be like that as an entrepreneur is because being an entrepreneur is not like having a 9-to-5, in which when you have a 9-to-5, you show up and you probably solve the same 10, 20 problems every day, right? As an entrepreneur, you have to solve an infinite amount of problems, ongoing. Like, you're never going to stop running into problems as an entrepreneur. Constantly going to be running into problems. So every day I'm probably solving, like, I can't put a number on it, but like over 50 new problems a day. Like, new things are always coming up, and I'm not sure how to do things. I'm constantly learning. So if you want to be a lifelong learner, being an entrepreneur is great. If you're okay with solving problems and you like solving problems, being an entrepreneur is great. If you're okay with making mistakes and being proud of actually making decisions and actually doing something with your life rather than just sitting back and being afraid of making mistakes, being an entrepreneur is a great way to go. But again, this video, I just want to give you permission to work a lot. Don't be afraid to work a lot, especially if you're in your teens, you're in your 20s, you're in your 30s, even if you're in your 40s. Work a lot, man. Work a lot. And the more you work, the more you're gonna cherish the reward, because it's definitely not easy, and that's what makes the reward so fulfilling. That's what makes finishing projects so pleasurable, because you work so hard on the project. Like, there's no greater feeling really than working really, really hard on a project and then launching it and then having it be successful and then having money come in as a result, being able to get people results as a result. It's an amazing feeling. And then just knowing that that never ends as well as an entrepreneur, that's a really cool feeling as well. Knowing that you're just always going to keep solving problems, keep working on things, keep getting people results. That's what it really is all about as being an entrepreneur. So again, don't be afraid to work a lot. Yesterday, a couple days ago, was like a 12-hour day, and that's like becoming semi-normal now. Put in like at least a couple 12-hour days a week, and it's mandatory almost if you're trying to grow your business to a very, very high level. It's also mandatory that as soon as you start making, I'd say, over 10K a month. If you're making over 10K a month, you definitely have to hire a full-time assistant to check all your emails. Like, if you're checking your emails and you're making over 10K a month, you're crazy. I do not want to be checking my emails, and I'm so glad I don't. Also, you want to be, if you're making over 10K a month, you want to hire a maid, clean your house. You should not be cleaning your house if you're making over 10K a month. You should be hiring someone to even cook your food. I'm looking for an awesome chef right now. You don't want to be spending time doing things that you don't need to do. Yeah, do things that are fun, sure. Like today, I went for a run, I ran around the lake, and I went for a swim, and I did some fitness, did some workout. Do things I want to do, but if I don't want to do them and I don't need to do them, I'd rather just spend my time working. Then I'll hire that thing out. So